What up, people of the internet? My name is Buck to the Plug, and welcome back to the channel. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are only a few short weeks away from the highly anticipated release of Mortal Kombat 1, which means my channel will be flooded with Mortal Kombat content because I won't be playing any other game. I haven't even had time to make any videos about it since the one I made last month. By the way, thank you for all the support on that video. But trust and believe I have been keeping up with all the news as well as watching the trailers thousands of times, and holy crap, this roster is shaping up to be so good. Just the return of characters like Havoc, Ashura, and Li Mei are enough to have me sold. Hell, if you guys remember from my future Mortal Kombat vid, I talked about just about every character that's been revealed so far, and they're all coming back, and I'm so damn excited to play as them. But alas, we still have a short while to go. But it is Mortal Kombat season, and one of the things that scare me most about playing MK1 are my rusty fighting game fingers. So for the first time in a long time, I booted up Mortal Kombat 11 to test my might, to familiarize myself again with inputs and combos. Just for context, I put in several hours into Mortal Kombat 11 when it first came out and up until the end of the DLC cycle, but haven't really played much of it in the last year and a half or so. So in this video, I thought it'd be a cool idea to not only revisit the game, but to test my luck. Sorry, that's probably the last Mortal Kombat joke. But to challenge myself and try to win a single versus match online against some of the world's best and not so best players using every single character in the game. Again, for context, I am by no means one of the best Mortal Kombat players ever, but I definitely ain't no button masher, okay? There were a few characters that I practiced with beforehand, a few I'm actually decent with so I didn't worry about, and most I pretty much just winged it. So if you're coming here for elite level gameplay, go watch my Mortal Kombat 11 videos from like 2 or 3 years ago, because your boy is rusty, okay? I thought this video would be kind of fun, and I'm coming out of retirement for MK1. Last but not least, the rules. Now I've given myself 2 rules. One, which I think is the most obvious, only one match. There will be no best 2 out of 3s here. No rematch, no nothing. It doesn't matter if I was one hit away and they got the better of me. That first match counts. And lastly, I have to change opponents after every match. Now, this is the rule that I came up with later, but I'll fill you guys in on that when we get there. Now that the stalling is done, let's get into the matches and see how I do. Well, did. Also, I'll be going in alphabetical order to just make things easier for me personally. Okay? Everyone got it? Let us begin. Starting off in order with the leader of the Tarkatans himself, Baraka starts off this journey against the Kano, and I unfortunately start this run with a loss. But even though this doesn't count, I did go back in and get my win back. Plus Baraka is returning in MK1, so maybe I can redeem myself then. Next up is the Seed of Johnny Cage, one of 2 returning combat kids who won't be in MK1. Maybe because they aren't born yet, but anyway, I digress. I went up against Akoto Khan and came out victorious, making up for my Baraka loss. Speaking of characters not returning to MK1, and thankfully so, is the Elder God Cetrion. I went up against a Kung Lao and started off pretty good, but ultimately came up short, leading to another defeat. D'Vorah, the Kaiten Queen herself, and arguably the most hated MK character of all time, killer of specters and Tarkatans. I went up against another Kung Lao and shockingly came out victorious. I don't play as D'Vorah like at all, so I was pretty proud of that win. Moving on to the only character whose name starts with E in this game, Aaron Black is one of my favorite newer MK characters who unfortunately won't be in the MK1 base roster. So I had to pull out a W against this Coda player, which I did using my Red Dead variation. Next is the honor list Frost, who's a character I was happy to see back for another game, but I don't play Frost at all. Maybe less than Cetrion. Even though I tried, this Scorpion got the best of me. Though Frost is a cameo in MK1, who from what I've seen, I think I'll be using pretty often. Fujin, God of Wind and Raiden's brother, was an excellent addition to the roster thanks to the Aftermath DLC, and I am thankful for his inclusion. but I do find his playstyle not my type, and this Scorpion cut me down a size. Also, this was the first brutality an opponent did on me, so, yeah. Next up is Garrus, a new addition to the Mortal Kombat roster, and the only new combatant returning to MK1 from MK11. My opponent was Shao Kahn, and there's nothing I love more than big meaty men slapping meat. And fortunately for me, my Garrus slapped harder, giving me the win. Moving on to the second combat kid that made the cut, the daughter of Jax, Jackie Briggs, is way more fun to play with in this game than in KX. And I actually pulled off a win against this Shao Kahn, adding to the W counter. Next up is Koto's baby mama, and one of the best pole dancers in MK history, Jade. I again pulled off a win against this Shao Kahn because we all know who the real Kahn is here. Oh, this is exciting. Moving on to one of my mains, Major Jackson Briggs, whose only defining trait is being Jackie's father. No, but seriously, I'm glad Jax is returning in MK1, even in cameo form, and I even got the W followed by my first brutality of the run. Moving on to one of the original 7 and my favorite B-list actor returning to MK1, Johnny Cage. Before I continue, I believe it was around this time I think the second rule came into place. As from here, I think Liu Kang, from Johnny Cage to like Liu Kang, I was playing against the same person and they handed me like 8 or 9 losses in a row, and crazily enough, I actually lost all that footage. But this time around, I got the W from my boy Johnny. So, no fighting the same person from here on out. Next up is the Clown Prince of Crime, Joker, against the Sub-Zero, and the first character from the Combat Pack 1 so far. And may I say, I dedicated so much time to each DLC character as they came out, and to be so rusty at them all this time later hurts me so much. I used to get back-to-back dubs with each of them, including Joker, and this match is no exception. Next up is actually my main, who I'm hoping returns as a cameo in MK1 because I love Cabal. I love MK3, and it would be really embarrassing if I lost this, but of course, I didn't. Next up is another one of the original 7, the leader of the Black Dragon and Land from Down Under, Kano, who is returning as a cameo in MK1 after being shot in the head and dying in MK11. Which I guess doesn't really matter since we're in a new era. Anyway, I lost. Moving on. Moving on to the Dark Empress, Princess, the new Khan of the... Kitana. Moving on to Kitana, I won, that's pretty much it. I like Kitana, she's also coming back to MK1, so let's go. Next up is one of the strangest new additions to the MK roster, Collector. And he isn't returning MK1 and probably never returning to MK period. Even though I didn't play as much as him in the game's lifespan, playing him in this run wasn't so bad. I did, however, take the L in this match. Next up is the Aztec Warrior, Sun, and Blood God. Oh, yeah, I think it's a War God too, right? Sun, Blood, and War God, and Jade's baby daddy, Kotal Khan. I actually really enjoyed playing as Kotal, but unfortunately I didn't walk away the victor. What makes it worse is this Jade I fought is so bad. I'm pretty sure you guys can see the footage in the back, but this Jade, I hate Jades that play like this. I almost threw my controller at the TV. Oh my god, I can't explain to you how bad that hurts. Next up is the second best Shaolin monk and guy with the sharp hat, Kung Lao. I think this is also my first mirror match, and of course it's with Kung Lao. I think I fought against more Kung Laos in this video than any other fight. But I came out the better Kung Lao, and I look forward to seeing him return in MK1. Moving on to Kitana's husband, and guy who is definitely better than Kung Lao. Also, I guess he's a fire god now, and the cover star of MK1, and the new Keeper of Time. Jesus, I feel like I'm introducing Khaleesi from Game of Thrones here. I don't play with Lou often, like at all, but he is a lot of fun, and I walked away with the W. Next up is Kitana's sister, who despite being dead made it into this game via Kombat Pack 2. Despite me not being one of the people hounding for her return, I was glad to see her, and she looks and plays really cool in this game. Unfortunately I lost, but I'll redeem myself with her in MK1. Next up is another one of my personal favorites, making his return by way of the first Kombat Pack. Between him and Kabal, they're my favorite MK characters, but unlike Kabal, I actually lost this match. Moving on to the vengeful Spectre noob Saibot. Even though I don't play as him much, I think his moveset and skins are really freaking cool. Sad to see him not return to MK1, but at least I got the win in this match. Moving on to the now former Protector of Earthrealm, Raiden was fun to pick up again, though I'm more excited to play as him in MK1, but for now, I picked up this win regardless. Next up is Rain, who is finally gonna make his main roster return for the first time since like Armageddon? In Mortal Kombat 1. I really enjoyed his inclusion in MK11. I'm not the best as him, which led to my loss, but I'll redeem myself with him in MK1. Moving on to John Rambo, who is by far one of the coolest and most unexpected additions to the MK11 roster. I loved his traps in close combat style, but unfortunately, Sonya proves she's the better soldier by pulling out with the win. Now on to one of the weirdest additions to the MK11 roster, RoboCop. Fun fact, RoboCop's inclusion in this game is the reason I went to watch the original film, because I didn't understand any references, but I didn't need to understand references to get the job done, because RoboCop walked away with a W. Next up is my third and final main, Scorpion. I probably had the best match with him out of the entire roster, so I easily picked up the win. Enough said. Moving on to the pre-order bonus for MK1, Shang Tsung, voiced by Cary Tagawa from the movie, in this game is freaking awesome. Having the power to possess the moves and likenesses of all the other ninjas should give me a huge and unfair advantage. But even then, I still lost. Next up is Kitana's stepdaddy and Sindel's husband, Shao Kahn, the Emperor himself. I really enjoyed his inclusion in this game. I don't usually do big grappler-like characters in fighting games. I mean, I played like Atrocitus and Injustice 2, but that was about it. I just loved his hammer and his spear and the many combos and projectile uses he had with them. But as much fun as I had playing with him, it wasn't enough to save me from an L, but I look forward to playing as General Shao in Mortal Kombat 1. Getting back on track with some W's, my next character is Shiva, who I love. She's my favorite Shokan, and I'm pretty good at playing. She's one of those characters I dedicated a lot of time to when she was released, so this was pretty much a squash match. That was a W for me. Next is Kitana's mama and Shao Kahn's wife. Now, Sindel will be in Mortal Kombat 1, but even in the new era, you can't convince me that she won't always be evil. With her horrific scream and magical hair, I pulled off a win, and hopefully I'll pull off some more W's with her in MK1. Next up is Scarlet, who made her Mortal Kombat debut as a DLC character. She really stood out from the main roster with her blood-based attacks and projectiles and such, and I didn't get the win here, but something I'm figuring out about myself playing this game again is that I'm really enjoying a lot more of these characters that I didn't exactly main. And Scarlet was one of those characters, right? Really wish I picked up a W here, but came up short, and I lost. Next up is General Blade, who's making her return as a cameo in MK1. And Sonya is another character who I don't play as, but found myself really enjoying thanks to this challenge. And thanks to her discipline and tact, I even pulled off a win. We finally made it to Spawn. As much as I enjoyed Nightwolf and the Joker's inclusion in Kombat Pack 1, I probably spent more time playing as Spawn than any other character in that pack combined. And you want to know something funny? when I played a spawn in this challenge, I actually beat Raiden 2-0, but I got so greedy and I mercied him, and he had the comeback of a century, allowing him to pull off of a victory. I'm not going to lie, I almost made an exception on that only one match thing, but that one's on me, and I lost. Next up is Sub-Zero, the character that's been in every Mortal Kombat game since its inception. Whether you know him as Bi-Han or Kuai Liang, Sub-Zero was another easy win for me in this challenge, and I can't wait to see more of him in Mortal Kombat 1. And finally, the Terminator, the T-800, another Combat Pack guest character I dedicated so much time to. But not only did I lose my last match, I rematched Terminator just for fun, and the guy mirror matched me and proved he's a superior cybernetic organism. I guess it's only fitting I end with an L. Okay, let's check that final score. 21-16. Whoa, would you look at that? I actually haven't been counting while I was recording, but I was genuinely convinced I had lost more. Looks like your boy is ready for that MK1 more than I thought. This video has been a heck of a lot of fun to make, and really put me back in the fighting game / MK mood that I've been craving for the past 4 years. Street Fighter filled that void a little bit, but expect a ton of MK content on the channel, including live streams. Speaking of live streams, I live streamed the last day of the beta, depending on when you're seeing this, a few days ago. Definitely go check that out on the channel, and there will be more videos about MK1 coming out before the full game comes out that I just want to discuss and go from there. I'll also be making videos on the story, dedicated videos for each character, and even a complete analysis of the entire game, which I am so excited to do. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I really want to know what was your favorite part of the video. What was my favorite win? What was your favorite loss? Let me know what you look forward to doing most in I almost said MK11. I've been playing it for so long. MK1. Also let me know how I did in this video and how I can improve until my next one. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.